Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is $3 Theater. And this Friday, not even this Friday, this Thursday, really, just a couple days, 2 days from now, the X-Men world as we've known it, Fox's X-Men universe, comes to a close. It's going to be over with Dark Phoenix. Now, whether or not Dark Phoenix should have been released is always a topic that's going to be up for discussion. I think it's even going to be even more up for discussion tonight when the review embargo lifts and we get to see what critics think. One of my colleagues went to go see it last night at a press screening, and I asked him, and he said it was not good, and that kind of confirms my own fears for what this movie is and what it ended up being. Which I'm not going to lie when I say this, guys. I don't think this movie was treated fairly. I don't think this movie ultimately got a good. I think it got a bad deal. I think it was screwed from the get-go. And that's no one's real fault. You know what I mean? It's not like it was set out to be bad. It was not like it was set out to be a bad movie or everything. It just ended up going that direction due to everything else that happened. What you've got is, X-Men Apocalypse was a bit of a letdown compared to not only First Class, but X-Men Days of Future Past and even The Wolverine. Those were three great films that preceding it. Then, of course, it, followed up with like Logan and Deadpool, around that same time. Both of those were excellent movies. And then you hear about this one, and it's then we get the Disney merger, and it's like, what's happening here? They don't know where they're going. They don't know what they're doing. But then the MCU is still pumping out, movie after movie after movie. 10 years, 11 years, all this stuff. And we know that it's coming to an end. So at the back of our mind, we don't have a desire to see this film. We don't have a desire to go and watch it. It's not that we don't want to. I think a lot of X-Men fans, comic book movie fans out there are going to want to go see this movie. It's because it just boils down to that whole, well, what's the damn point? Right. The movie is on looking to track to open like the lowest opening of any X-Men movie. And this is one that Disney marketing is now trying to argue, is now trying to pump up as a culmination of the last 20 years of X-Men films, that it's bringing to a close this entire saga, which is true that it is, but it's going out not with a bang, but with a whimper. I mean, all things considered, in a perfect world, you close it out with Logan. When Logan ends, when he died, that should be the Fox X-Men universe dying with it. But of course, Logan came out 6 months before we even caught any wind of this particular deal. And especially before the Comcast interference and everything else. And at the end, Disney bought Fox, its entertainment assets, for $71.3 billion. Damn. So now these are their toys. Now it's their toy. Now this is the one that they are honoring its release. They're doing the same for New Mutants. And New Mutants is going to have a fate even worse than X-Men Dark Phoenix if New Mutants does not tie into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And that's a problem with these movies, is that they are now being put up to and against the same company. Right? They're no longer two separate universes that coexisted between two studios. Now it's all going to be one, and nobody wants the X-Men movies to really continue. And look, when I say nobody, I'm being hyperbolic. But look, I don't want to dwell on the negative with this. What I want to do is I want to say goodbye to what has been. I want to say goodbye to what arguably changed the landscape of modern pop culture cinema. And it's true. Go back to July 2000. Go back to that first time you saw X-Men in the theater. And what was your reaction to that? I remember summer 2000. I just graduated high school. Didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. I was, living in Lakeside, California, which is right outside of San Diego. And I went to a local drive-in that I ended up working at for 10 years, by the way, after this. But I went there with my friends from school. And we watched X-Men on opening night. And I'm like, I've seen Batman and Robin. That was pretty bad. We've never got an X-Men movie before. The trailer looked pretty cool. How good is this going to be? And it was fucking mind-blowing. X-Men 1 was mind-blowing. X-Men 2, X-Men United was mind-blowing. X-Men 3 was fun. I'm going to stick to that. The Juggernaut thing always got me. I always loved that. Right. That was one of the first examples, by the way, of internet humor making it into a big budget movie. The fact that they had two references to X-Men fan stuff in Last Stand was great. The other one was it was Wolverine versus Punisher short film. Anyway, but then not only did we get those films, good or bad, we got Daredevil, which, look, not the best movie in the world, but not the worst movie ever. And then there was Elektra, which is arguably much crappier than that. Fantastic Four in 2005 was a fun movie. It was a fun movie. Number 2 a couple years later took a bit of a hit, but they still tried to bring something new to the table. X-Men Origins Wolverine, they tried something. The Deadpool thing killed it. But then they decided to go back. They decided to go back and give us how the X-Men began. And from there, that kicked off a whole new chapter in the Fox lineup. You know, Matthew Vaughn coming in and doing First Class did a great job. He brought it the same way Singer brought it with X-Men and X-Men 2. Then Singer, oh my God, upped his game in Days of Future Past, man. Like, just upped his damn game. I don't know what happened with Apocalypse, but Days of Future Past was good too. That could have also been a way to cap off the Marvel, the side of things with Fox. That could have been a movie to end it off as well. You know, 2013, James Mangold brought us The Wolverine. And that movie was in my top 5 of 2013. The movie was fantastic. I still remember seeing that movie with my girlfriend. And at the very end of that film, the post-credit scene, Wolverine in like the terminal and everything stops. And I'm like, wait a minute. And then audibly in the theater, I'm like, no. My girlfriend's like, would you shut the hell up? And I'm like, you don't understand. And then here come, you know, it's Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen. And they're basically like, Logan, we need your help. And it's like, oh my God. You know, it's happening. It's like they brought it back again. It was in this weird place for like 7-8 years. And then they brought it back. And then, of course, you know, the summer of 2014, after Days of Future Past came out and kicked serious ass, we get the 2-minute leaked footage of Deadpool, which I still think Tim Miller leaked out there. I still think he did it. And Tim Miller leaking out Deadpool gave us a vision of something that could have been. Something that would have never been under Fox under Tim Rothman, who I still think is ruining Sony. But it gave us something we never would have gotten before. And from there, the fan excitement ramped itself up. And that's possibly what hurt Apocalypse, was they were trying to then capitalize on that hype that Deadpool had and going for something bigger and crazier, but they forgot maybe the story and also like Apocalypse's character and a lot of other shit, but whatever. And even Deadpool 2 kind of hurt a little bit, but Logan, I think, is the pinnacle of the last couple years. When you look at the 20th Century Fox X-Men movies, good and bad, I stand by my statement. They defined cinema. They redefined pop culture. We would not have the Marvel Cinematic Universe without X-Men. And we wouldn't have had that, not because of just the quality of the film. The fact that Bryan Singer, a relative unknown, I mean, really, Usual Suspects and Apt People were good, but brought this realistic take that he treated seriously. He treated the source material with a lot of seriousness, and he brought it and had good performances and good actors and everything else, and people fell in love with it. And also, Kevin Feige was an associate producer, I believe, underneath Laura Schuler Donner on that film. And he helped also guide it from behind the scenes, and that helped him go over and do what he has done. We owe a lot, if you like comic book films, to X-Men. We would not have gotten Batman Begins without X-Men. We would not have gotten Spider-Man without X-Men. When they saw what could be done with these properties being told in a serious cinematic way that is still comic accurate, that is still going to appease those fans, and how much money it could bring in. And I still remember the opening weekend of Spider-Man, 114 million or 112 million. Yeah, that was a nightmare. Now that's nothing, but back in 2002, that was a nightmare to work at a theater. All I'm saying is we owe a lot to this, and it sucks that it's going out with the whimper and not a bang. It really does suck. So I just kind of wanted to say goodbye to something that I have loved for nearly 20 years. Good and bad. I've always enjoyed myself. I've never walked out of one of their movies going, "Rah." I've always walked out, maybe that wasn't the best thing in the world, but it's part of something that I very much like. And as invested as I am as a fan into the MCU, I was as invested as to those movies back then. And I never looked at them as being lesser films than the MCU as it continued to grow and build. I always wanted it to kind of match up to the quality, which it did and surpassed in a couple ways. You know, I mean, look, as much as I love Marvel movies, they have done nothing on the same levels as X-Men 1, X-Men 2, Logan, and Days of Future Past. Those movies still surpass 98% of the MCU. And it sucks that it's over. It sucks we'll never see Hugh Jackman in the role again, even in a cameo appearance or something. It sucks that Deadpool is going to potentially be a different feel now. But all good things come to an end, right? They do. All good things come to an end. So I'm not going to mourn the death of Fox's Marvel films. I'm going to celebrate the 20 years it was around and what it did and what it brought us. And when the time is right, I'm going to show the movies to my kids and go, this is what used to be. This is what made these movies great. This is why Daddy loves them. This is why I watch them. And while they won't grow with them the way I grew with them, they'll get to experience them. And I'm excited about that, as well for what's coming down the pipeline. So to everyone at Fox who brought these movies to life over the span of 20 years, thank you. Even to Bryan Singer, his own personal situation with the Me Too movement is, I don't know how he is as a person, but as a creative talent, he brought these things to life in a way that very few others could. And as a result, we get to sit here and see these movies multiple times a year with these great characters that are treated with care and respect, and they're not neon lights, batten suit nipples. It's not what it was in the 90s. And we have them to thank for that. And I think that gets lost in the conversation. That's why I just wanted to do this video and say goodbye. I'll be seeing Dark Phoenix on Thursday. You can check out my review on $3 Reviews. I think there's a link for it in the video description. And I look forward to hearing your thoughts. What's your favorite moment of Fox's films? What memory do you have? What do you love about it? What don't you love about it? What are you excited for in the future? I am curious to know. This is a conversation, and I appreciate you guys getting this far. If you made it this far, do me a solid. Type in X-Men into the chat so I know. And if you guys would like to, please consider thumbs up the video, subscribing to the channel if you're new, and if you really want to help out, you like this kind of content, and you want to see more of it, if it speaks to your heart, check out the Patreon. Helps out. I'll talk to you guys later. Have yourself a fantastic day. Oh, that's Wakanda, isn't it? It's not even a double. Anyway, whatever. Snick, snick, stunk.